first Google I was thinking today was the computer from Star Trek. Remember when the captain would be like, computer, blah, blah, blah. And the computer was Google. But now it's just Google to us.
Yeah, now it's in every house.
Computer, tell me about blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
it's very addictive.
well, blah, blah, blah started from the ancient,
Blah, 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 blah.
the ancient mythology of blondness. Alright, so I don't know how to get this, because I'm going to give this to you. Alright. E. Now I'm going to give you your gift after I do a shot. And then I'm going to work on our documentary. The documentary, this documentary, is to preserve our memories forever.
Okay.
That's why we document stuff, right?
I guess that's why.
Because here's what I was thinking the other day. You ready? If we don't share what we know now, then we'll just have to start over. Like we teach the kids, you know, what the ancients have taught us, and so we just keep sharing the past. Make sense, right? Towards like if you just grew up in a civilization that knew nothing from the past, it would just start over again. They'd have to create the era of the railroads, the industrial age. It's like, and that doesn't exist in some parts of the world. So we're fucking lucky right here.
Oh.
So, okay, it's your birthday. I really enjoyed how last night you told me, or made me aware, that you are exactly, well not exactly, but close to it, double my age. You're 72 today?
Yep.
I'm 36. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting.
Alright, I didn't know what to get you for your birthday, because I just didn't know.
There's nothing I need, really.
Well, today, I'm just like, well, what can I give Rob for his birthday? And I have two sanctuaries in my bedroom. One is love and family. You're part of that. I got stuff from you in that one. Then the other one is peace. Love and family and peace and love. So,
You actually do know me.
so I'm looking at certain things. I'm like, well, what can I give Rob? I have to give you something from me. It's mine, but I have to give it to you. Does that make sense? Like if I go out and buy something at the store, that's not mine. I just fucking bought something from the store. So, for your 72nd birthday, I like your balls, that's fine. I saw this. It's mine, but I wanted to give it to you for your birthday. So, happy birthday. And you're going to drive today, so that works.
Well, that's very nice. Huh. I'm touched.
That was mine. It was mine, but now it's yours. See how that works?
Am I touched or guilty? I can't.
Am I touched or
I can't.
How about a both and?
Yeah.
Can I get a both and here?
Oh, well, I got going on that. Oh, I'm going to give you something in return.
Yeah, it's not my birthday.
Well, because you just. Hey, I'm thinking.
That's my boy.
I'm thinking about adding him to my loving kindness thing.
That's pretty cool.
Because he's the right color.
It's yes.
I'm just messing with him. It's not a decision yet. I'm gonna have to buy another CD player.
Or perhaps just a little bit scratched, the CD itself. Go ahead. Read it. No, read it to me.
Well, it's actually more of a piece of art, but okay. Timeless. Before time
Turn that
was.
down a little bit.
Oh,
So I can
sorry,
read better.
yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I like music. It's just distracting to me. I like it, but it's distracting to me.
Yeah. Well, before time was invented, and after it had become obsolete, one was one, a serene contemplation, residing in the nowhere, everywhere, the isness, the all. So why do we alienate, isolate our so-called selves from this obvious truth of being? Linear lunacy, the quixotic quest of time, dueling with duality. We are obsessed with disconnecting, and an earnest yet impossible desire to sever our individual existence from the whole, of which we cannot not be part of. The folly of false assumptions, beginnings and ends. They lead us into intellectual cul-de-sacs, and we circle there, blindly confused, until like rats in a maze, we retrace our path and return to the intersection. This time, do we take both and avenue, or do we again go back down the illusory either-or street? Even this choice is not really available, since the duality of either-or was always illusory.
Yeah, it's an illusion.
One simply is. We are the source. Welcome, fellow lunatic.
All right, that'll be the beginning of the documentary. How about that? No, it's recorded.
Oh, I want
Shake hands, my friend.
that old cliche about the fish not knowing it's in water. Yeah.
I've never heard that. Tell me about it.
Well, I mean,
fish does not know it's in water. Oh, wait.
That's just the way it is. You take them out of water and they go, well, this is not good. I never knew that I had to be in water. And I think if a camera is ubiquitous enough, after a while,
I don't know what that word means, but anyway,
ever present, always around. You know, you just
well,
finally
you could call it God. At
this. I'm like the fish. All of a sudden, having a camera going all the time, and it's just like the water that surrounds you. Maybe that's what you're heading towards. In fact, maybe that's. You know, the first.
Wait, can I say the same thing different way?
The first thing I had to do with my computer.
That's what I did with mine also. Cover up the camera.
Well, this, you know, did I tell you about this book I'm reading?
Distracted? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my joke. That's my joke.
Well, she just nails it. She's a brilliant writer, and she just describing what she considers the next dark ages that we're entering into, because we're so distracted, nobody can pay attention.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah.
I'm being well, right now.
You know, my old buddy Eddie.
But she's looking at the dark side of it. I just watched a film, and the ending of the film was very disturbing and dark. And it had a weird twist, but the message at the very end was, everything's going to be okay. So how about that as a message? Everything's going to be okay.
I'm sure when I finish this book, I'll write her a letter saying just what you're saying. Well, okay, that's one way of looking at it. You know, you can, your glass
I
can
like
be half full.
Maslow studied people, the greatness of people, the goodness, to be transcendent. But then we can look at the evils that humans do. If you want to focus on the evils, go ahead. It's going to suck if you focus on that.
Yeah.
But if you focus more on Maslow and to better ourselves.
Well, what she's saying in a very scientific way, there's hundreds of studies out there now about what she calls split frame mental living, where we're all, we're doing so many things, multitasking and all. I mean, and everybody's assuming this is a good thing. She's claiming that it'll get to the point where we literally are so distracted that we can't even sit down and just relax and think and contemplate.
Well, a lot of people feel that right now.
But anyway, so I have
but they don't have to.
I have a couple other people reading it to see whether they think it's dangerous. Now, my brother is Roy is a classic example. Wait, yeah, I asked you this last night when it comes to the documentary. I think it's okay for you to give him the finger in the future. But we were in the past. And I say that to Roy. I'm like, Roy, let me tell you something. Like, you're watching this now, but we're in the now right now, but you're in the future. We know you're in the future. Does that make sense? Like, it's just funny time dilation for me. The whole documentary is time dilation. I guess the crux is who's in control of one's mind, oneself, or have we relinquished control?
It's all of it. There's so much it depends on your senses, depends on what you've already learned in here.
Okay. I guess my best example is, and it's clear for me now,
really I'm going to start a new scene.
And I'm writing better than ever about it, is that I sit here in front of literally endless information right there at my fingertips.
Okay.
Endless information. Like Roy and I can remember the name of the national sport in Ireland that we thought was so goofy. And I couldn't remember it, so what did I do? I succumbed. I just Googled it. It's hurling.
Computer, tell me. That's
Yeah,
what I said.
you know, I didn't have to remember it on my own. I would have. And this happens as you get older. It happens more and more, where you can think of, you can visualize a person or a place, but you can't remember the word.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can either, you know, force yourself to remember it, relax, and it'll pop into your head, or you can
everything is stored.
Or you can just take the easy way out. And I'm thinking of now that millions of people are taking the easy way out, are our brains actually, are we reversing evolution? Are we getting stupider?
It's both. To where it goes to the classic example, like if I have a calculator, which is technology, do I have to learn math? Because you could just punch it in and be like, okay, here's the answer.
We got thrown out of school for having a calculator in our pockets when I was in high school. Because that was
Then you look at Chinese and stuff like that, to where they can use the
abacus.
I like that word. Say it again. I like that word. Say it again, please.
Abacus.
Abacus. This is. I wanna. That should be like an alter ego character, like ludicrous aberrance. It should be ludicrous abacus.
Is a nice word.
Ludicrous abacus instead of aberrance, because ludicrous is crazy, and ludicrous
abacus
aberrance is like hatred.
You think of aberrance?
Aberrance.
Aberrant behavior?
But I'm going to change his name now. Ludicrous abacus.
Abacus would be calculating.
Yeah.
Very calculating.
So insane calculating. So ludicrous aberrance was insane hatred. But I could change his name to ludicrous abacus, which is insane calculating.
Works for me. But anyway, maybe I said this last night, but it just struck me the other day. I'm sitting here, and here's this whole world right here at my fingertips. I can communicate with friends, and I admit it's the novelty has worn off, you know. And now I either really get into it, or I just like it's another tool, like a phone sitting in the house or something. Or a TV, you turn it on, you turn it off, but you're not. And I'm looking out, and I'm saying, now think about it. Me personally, where would I rather be? Down on the beach with the roaring fire, watching the sunset, and listening to the waves, the eternal fire, the eternal waves, and relaxing and just enjoying it, or up here going, you know, trying to. In the thing, it's insidious, because I now see why people put ads on it. Some of this stuff, I don't know where the ads even come from or whatever. I guess they must somehow sense it if I'm looking up, like, well, I check the Indian score or something. Instead of going to the newspaper, get a Sunday paper, what do? I come out here and I get on the Indians' website to see how the game ended. And then up pops another thing. You go, oh, that catches your eye. You go, well, I can see how you can just get caught up in it. And I'm thinking, how can little kids resist? How can, you know, it's worse than television, or better maybe, because at least it's interactive. TV, you just sit there, it's all one way.
It's going into you.
Yeah.
It's programming it. But it's a TV program.
And for years now, I've watched people, back when I was growing up, there were no televisions in bars. It was like a coffee shop. You went there to have
now it's like a casino.
And talk to people.
You go to a bar now, it's like a casino. There's stimulation
everywhere. And you watch people, they can't, the TV's on, even, there's somehow they're drawn to it.
Doug Stanhope said, he's like, I solved that problem in a DVD years ago. To where I feel the same emotion, to where it's like, yeah, stop it. It's too much sometimes.
Okay, well, what I'm leading up to, and I'm curious as to what has happened, is that I watched the sports. You started out sports bars, where you go to a bar and the big TV set, so you watch a game.
Games everywhere, different games.
Then it turns out every bar and restaurant had to have all these TV screens. And it just always made me crazy, because I came home one night after a business trip, long business trip. I was exhausted, and my wife and daughter waited up for me. I took a cab home, and I walked in the house, and I said, hi, and they're in the television room, you know, the family room, and they're both sitting there watching something on TV, and I dropped my suitcase, and I'm standing in the door. The dog, Corby,
the dog
came running up.
Like, hey, how's it going?
How's it going, thing. Glad to see me. Hi, you know, licking me, jumping up and down. The two
I know where the story
females in my life were sitting there, I just
Stuck in
snapped.
the-
I went in the kitchen, I got a pair of scissors, and I cut the cord on the TV set. Sparks flew. I said, I'm home. Talk to me. And I was probably about your age then. It just drove me crazy. I had a long trip. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to tell them about. I
get it. Wait, hold on. It's so many different things because it's ego. It's wanting to relax. It's wanting to be notarized. Because if you walked in and they're just enjoying their own reality, you'd be like, okay, this is it. But we want to be noticed.
Oh, sure. I see all the ego in it and everything. But so years later, okay, I had.
Can I sit down? Can I move that?
Yeah, same wife, same daughter, everything. But we're living in Florida, and let's say it's 12 years later. And but they never forgot. Emily would actually have conversations, you know. So I had the opportunity through some friends and contacts to open up my own bar. I've run bars, I've marketed bars for years, and I had a lot of ideas. And it basically was based upon the world's best cheeseburger and all that. Because you couldn't get a cheeseburger on Sanibel, you could get filet mignon everywhere. So anyway, so I said, well, I'm going to do this, and I opened it. And the first thing I did, it had been a failed restaurant like 3 different times this space. But if they had, anyway, they just hadn't done something unique enough to work.
Smoke?
Oh, sure. And anyway, so...
Can I crack your door also? I'm sorry.
I don't care about the smoke. Anyway, so
I'm listening.
so what's going to be unique about this place? Not only is it the world's best homemade cheeseburgers, and I mean I had the formula down, but I said no TVs, none in the whole place. Okay. However, the music.
What year was this?
This
is
was
like old days, because you're old guy now.
1980.
You're a savage. Yeah. I was talking about you with my dad yesterday. You like chopping wood, and you're talking about your shoulder, but man, you're.
And it was probably 1982, 83, right in there. And opened up, no TV sets. But the other thing was, I was always fascinated by. You go to a party and everything's going on, and the music, you put on a certain kind of music, and everybody starts.
It changes mood.
Yeah, it changes mood. The mood swings.
It's supposed to.
And what an unbelievable controlling thing it is. And so every time I throw a party, I knew exactly how to make it into a great party.
Sorry. I was going to move it here, but.
And if people have a little bit more to drink and you turn the volume up a little bit, then they start shouting and dancing and carrying on. So okay. So I had at that time, a state-of-the-art, this is right when CDs were not quite, we had what you call a tape stacker.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And it'd be like a CD changer, and the music was in a locked closet that only I had control over. If an employee ever tried to touch it, they were fired. They were told that when they were interviewed for the job. You ever mess with the music, the volume, the selection, you're out of here. It's like stealing. Because what it was the music of
Can I stop? I have to stop you right now.
Okay.
I was going to ask permission, but I just have to.
Okay.
That's why I like being out there with silence.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read things of what other people say, or I'll listen to people talking, like right now. But when there's stuff on the background, it's too distracting. So, and that's where, like you were talking about, like, you know, no TVs. So I understand.
Yeah. Well, the visual thing, it's a hypnotic eye. People just can't help but stare at it. I can't either. I go in the bar and it's on, and I'm staring at it.
That's from being an infant, a baby.
Oh, there's a whole chapter on that in this book, how the little child will, you know, when you're a little tiny, you're visual, and you look at the shiny object. And
yeah, you have to understand first who your parents are. Who do you trust, who do you not trust?
Okay, so anyway, it was an experiment, but not really. Now the music was not very loud. I kept it very effective. You wouldn't even notice it, you know. But it was all the music from the 60s and early 70s. My target market group would have been teenagers then, the wealthy young people that would come to Sanibel. best time in their lives. So they come in here and they hear this music like Happy Days. You know, with Richie Cunningham and Fonzie and all that.
I learned about this from the documentary The Century of the South. So when they started talking, they started directing advertisement towards when your biology is changing, and you're horny, and your brain is actually literally changing to become an adult. That's where the market is now. And it's been. And it's now controlled by teenagers, in a sense.
Oh, yeah, and it's completely out of whack, you know, but it is what it is, and students have been the center of revolution forever. That's, you know, that's where college is. Anyway, what would happen, so people would walk in, and I'd watch them, because I attended the bar, I was there 20 hours a day, and which did get me single.
Go like this. You got, like...
Anyway,
now you put it on your chin. It's like a Mel Brooks clip. You got it.
Anyway, they'd walk in.
I'm sorry, I'm visual.
And they just, you'd see them sitting there and their toes would start tapping. You know, and they're smiling, they're talking to each other. And everybody had a good time in this place. And there were 50 restaurants they could go to in a week's vacation. A lot of people come back a second or a third time in that week and they couldn't quite figure out why they had such a good time there. Well, there were no TV sets. They were talking to each other. The music was reminding them of the best times of their life, you know. But it was also subtle that they just didn't get it. And now I would wonder. I haven't been back there for 10 years since I, you know, got out of the business. But I would almost bet you there's now like 28 of these things. We franchised them, and I would even have one at Cleveland Airport. They tried to sell me a chicken sandwich at a cheeseburger restaurant, you know. Anyway, I'll bet you they have TV sets in them now. I'll just bet you somebody buckled under and thought you couldn't stick with that. That nobody'd come in if you didn't have it. It was just the opposite. People came in there because there were no TV sets.
Yeah. And calm and relax. I enjoy it myself.
But we all have a choice. And I guess that's the scary part. What her premise, and I'm only halfway through the book, is that we're unconsciously giving up our freedom of thought. We're turning our minds over to all the social media and all these distractions, and pretty soon the individual won't exist.
And that's why, me personally, I've always been against what's popular. Just to, like, if Guar became popular, I'd be against Guar, because that's just my personality. Like people are like, this is great, you gotta see this, and I'm like, no. But then I'll see it and I'm like, yeah, it's good. It really is good what they're trying to share with me. But at the same time, I don't want to be consumed with it.
The irony of it, the strength.
The irony, it is.
Well, the strength of America, as I understood it growing up, was the power of self-reliance. Was the rugged individual. That was like my dad. He had to drop out of school during the Depression, was mopping the floors at this photo studio to make money, ended up owning it 15 years later. Literally worked his ass off, worked his way up. I mean, the American dream, you know? And that's the way we were all raised. You go to college, you get out, you're on your own. You know, self-reliance is everything. And the rugged individual and all that stuff, the pioneer, you know, going off across the plains. Yeah. I mean, that was, to me, was the American spirit.
It's all the same thing, different way, though. But well, okay, I see where you're going with this, but it's on a negative side.
Well, I don't know. I'm not that pessimistic. I'm born an optimist. Just because it's different doesn't make it worse. It's very different.
Yes.
But I do think, like when you rode your two-wheeler on your own for the first time, you know, with no training wheel, nobody. I mean, that was a pretty cool feeling.
Freedom.
Okay, freedom, self-reliance. You're peddling it. You're doing this on your own. I take that metaphor, and I apply it to our society, the welfare state that we're creating.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're doing somebody a favor when we give them money.
I would agree.
For not working. I think we're punishing them. We're taking away this opportunity for real joy.
I would agree. But I also have, to where I grew up with government assistance, like free lunches, stuff like that. But then I went to college, and now I, you know, through a family member, my sister-in-law, she got me my job. and it was only supposed to be temporary, but now I'm very happy. So
But
sometimes
you're on your own. Nobody's paying you. You're earning what you get. That's a good feeling. Now, and it's becoming obsolete. Literally, we have a whole segment of society, third and fourth generation welfare kids, who really think, that the government owes them a living.
I saw something horrible online the other day about what's happening, but I don't want to talk about it because I want to think about goodness instead of directing.
And I'm looking for somebody. I'm looking for an articulate liberal, unless that's an oxymoron, who can explain to me, why they think that giving people money that they didn't
it's
earn
mental
is a
programs.
good thing.
We can program any of our minds. We can program them to think anything. To where I hear this on the radio a lot. To where the generation growing up now believe they deserve anything without working for it.
Yeah.
But that's a program. We didn't grow up with those programs.
Oh, exactly. I grew up with a different program.
Yeah.
And so here it is. I've lived long enough to see it completely evolved into a whole nother way of thinking. I'm going, I can't assume that they're wrong. Maybe socialism, maybe it's time for socialism. It's never worked out too well before in the communist states and any other places tried. And Europe is going down in flames with that model, but yet here we are jumping into it. I'm going, and I'm sure I've said this before, and it might sound like blasphemy, but Christian philosophy is at the core of this.
Read what I gave you for your birthday. I love it.
Oh, well, isn't that interesting?
See how I intertwined it?
No. Okay.
Oh, Christianity, the cause of this laziness. I would say no, but I like that quote of the
At the core of it is
the Footprints poem.
is forgiveness, right?
Wait, I just wanted you to read the keychain I gave you. Because I like it. Do you know where it is?
Yes, just a second. If I don't take my blood pressure pills, I get a little cranky.
If I don't masturbate, I get a little cranky.
I thought you had that covered again.
Sometimes 10 times a day doesn't work. I'm still cranky. No, that's a joke. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I'm choking on my vitamin pill.
Wait, you're pooping what? You're choking? Pooping, choking?
Yeah, that's a restaurant that didn't work. Chicken Choking Charlie's.
Chicken choking Charlie's.
And then I thought, like a lobster, you could pick out your own chicken.
Oh, yeah, read that. I read that, and I'm like, this is perfect. And this goes with socialism.
Might nail it. My precious child, I love you and would never leave you. When you see only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I carried you.
Because that's footprints, like, condensed. Isn't it? It is footprints condensed. Like, I love you, haha. We're like, when you only see one footprints, it's like, you're not alone. I was there too, bitch. I was there too, bitch.
When you think you're most alone is when you're not.
That's why I love this all. I call it the oneness. That's my philosophy.
Okay. Here's what I'm trying to get at. There's what we call nature, which I think is another word for God that people just are more comfortable saying nature. Like
different words for the same thing.
And we tell there's some things that are natural. I watch the geese and the ducks, and they're free, and they're totally, they're just living like, living and dying, according to nature's rules.
When it comes to socialism, in living out here right now, I thought of this when I went to go get a new beer. To where there's a bunch out there all day, all morning, enjoying themselves.
Yes,
but I can run out there and be like, get off my property, you assholes! I could be a dick if I wanted to. But no, let them enjoy themselves, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So they, in the so-called natural world, there are rules. If you can't get enough food, you die.
Yeah.
If you have three-legged squirrels, doesn't have a very good shot. I mean, it's just, that's it. the survival of the fittest and evolution. Everybody buys
Darwin.
into this.
You don't like Darwin.
Everybody.
But I'm listening.
Pardon?
Darwin.
Yeah. What?
Listen, I'm listening. Bring it on.
It's a theory of evolution, and everybody accepts it. So if I found my articulate liberal oxymoron person, I would say, okay, you certainly accept Darwinism in evolution. To you, it's a fact, and that we evolved out of that, and so we are basically just animals. Well, why do we have a different set of rules for us than we do for the animals? In other words, a handicapped person, we don't allow them to die because we're so arrogant about our
We've
ourselves.
had this conversation years ago.
I know, but I'm wondering where you stand on it now.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping you're my articulate liberal.
Okay, here's... I learned this from Star Trek, which came from the beginning, like, computer, tell me about blah, blah, blah. Star Trek. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
I love this. There's a character on Star Trek The Next Generation, Geordi LaForge. He's a black guy with the visor. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And there's another culture that breeds the best specimens. You know, hey, you have the DNA to be a musician, so therefore that's what you're going to do. And their planet is in trouble, they need help. To where the end result is they use the technology from Geordi's visor, to where he would have been aborted or destroyed for being blind. Because blindness in this other culture is like, blindness, you're inferior,
Yeah,
so you should just be done. But the technology that was created because he was blind saved the other culture. So that's kind of where it full circle.
I guess I'm a Trekkie. I mean, that series was so far ahead of its time, you know. I mean, right now you look at it and, man, it wasn't just goofy. I mean, a lot of times science fiction is... I collect.
Oh, so here's where I debate Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, Star Trek, they didn't even think of the internet. But like I said earlier, Star Trek with the computer was the first Google. We're like, computer, tell me about blah, blah, blah. So they did have the internet, but it was the computer.
Yeah. It's just words, but what...
So Joe Rogan's wrong, I'm right.
So, do you think I'm crazy that...
I don't think you're crazy at all.
Human beings...
I just think you're a little weird.
Race,
that's my joke, though.
The race of humans, our particular type of life form.
Wait, did you hear my joke? I think you're weird.
Well, I know that.
But I know I'm
If you
weird,
think I'm weird, you know...
I'm just making jokes.
If you ever live this long, I wonder what sort of a nutcase you're going to be.
I'm not. I plan on offing myself within the year.
Me too. I've been saying that for 30 years.
I've been saying that for 30. How about 36 years?
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and for me it is a train. Anyway, do you think we consciously set ourselves apart from all the rest of the life forms and labeled ourselves superior so we don't have to follow the same rules as the animals do?
Wait, ask that
But
question
yet, we're
different
animals.
way. Sure, yes.
We're animals, but we have different rules.
I was thinking about you. Sounds creepy, but it's not supposed to be creepy. I was taking a bath and I was watching movies this morning. I was thinking about you. And I'm like, the way you ask questions, there's too much. There's either or, both and. That was a great poem, by the way, or great writing. Just ask me a question, and I'll tell you the answer.
Okay. Do humans have souls?
Yes.
Do they go on after the human body dies?
Yes.
Does the individuality go on?
That's where I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with that one. Does that make sense? I'm on the fence with that.
Do you think, this is a yes or no question, do you think human beings have the right to live by different rules than the rest of the animal world?
Yes, of course.
And
everything does. I don't want to live like a duck, but I love ducks, I guess. I never thought about loving a duck, but yeah, let them be.
There they are. There's my sign of love.
I don't want to like have fucking their webbed feet, but I'm gonna be a duck. I'm all the ducks, but I don't want it. I like being me.
My old buddy Bobby.
Okay, so more questions. I'm sorry.
So the question was...
More questions.
Now you say, yes, we have the right to live by different rules.
Mm-hmm. That's our evolution. I would say. I would say. My current personal opinion, which is your one. You like what I said? No, you like what I said.
Still on the fridge. Okay, perfect. Now, here's the premise that a lot of pessimists are using nowadays, is that because we live by different rules, we are so selfish and arrogant and narrow-minded that we are literally destroying the planet that we depend on to exist.
We're cancer.
We are rushing to our self-extinction. Does that make us smarter when we're all gone and the cockroaches are going chirpity chirp, chirpity
but
chirp?
Here's the weirdness of this. You ready for it? Here's what I have come to enjoy and accept. Our bodies are going to die. Like the Doug stand-up says, I'm going to treat it like a used car. And that's what we're doing as a human race. We're just destroying our own
environment.
Goodness. And the sun's going to die someday too. So, what the fuck? Just enjoy your life.
No, we'll just live for the moment.
Yeah. Be in the now.
Well, God knows I've had plenty of practice doing that. You know, I really, when I was like a sophomore in high school, my grandmother was dead there, and I'm going, this is my first dead person that I knew really well.
That's an interesting way to say it. This is the first dead person I know.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
I mean, she was my grandma, and now she's dead.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I think when you're a little kid, you know about dying and everything, but you don't really get it until you're confronted with this. And then my grandfather died. And then a whole bunch of people died. And so in 1 year's time, I was like at a bunch of funerals. I was old enough that I had to go to them. And you go up to the coffin and go, you know. But boy, it set me a thinking, you know. And, well, okay. That's one thing we know for sure. The one thing we know absolutely for sure is...
No, but you said this years ago.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the story you wanted to write was... And many other people have said this, like, what's the only thing that's true is death. And you're like, no, it's like the twist at the end is everything is forever. It is forever.
Yep, but
that's a philosophy.
Oh, sure. The thing that perplexes people is they know everything, anybody's thought, everything is forever except my body. It dies. And so is it just wishful thinking that we go, I got a soul and something about me is going to go on? Or is that just, if we're animals... And we're part of evolution, we're evolving towards what? What's the ideal person we're evolving to? With one finger,
I would
one
say
eye?
oneness. I'm going to start a new scene because I want to tell you something.
What happened? Oh, anyway. Have as much fun as you possibly can.
I would say the Illuminati knows stuff like that. To where I was watching this video today, a movie. It's very disturbing, but at the end they said, everything's going to be alright. To where the horrors that humans do of hurting other people, or shooting or icing people, then to try to save them to see how we work. That's very disturbing because you're actually hurting someone's body and their emotions, and it fucks things up. But so why do we do this?
Why?
That's looking at the badness. But there's also the Maslow of the goodness of doing good stuff. Wow, what's my point? You were just talking about the evolution of us.
Yeah, it seems like you can't really have it both ways.
Oh, wait. The reason I believe in infinite reincarnation without time. So I'm literally you in your garbage bag, floor mat. That's just everything is just it. And I know it's a wordplay, but when it comes to me dying, is something going to continue? Well, that's weird because if I'm going to be the barn and the smokestack, the chimney, and the smoke that comes out of it, it already just is. So, as an ego, I want to document and share just in case. To where it's making yourself immortal through a documentation, like a book. I was thinking about you the other day, like you get upset sometimes when I'm recording, but I want to make this documentary because it's like writing a book. It's there. Someone can read it. Someone can watch it and listen. It's the same thing.
I think we realize. I just grew up in a different era where books were my joy and electronic information. Who cares how? Enlightenment doesn't care how you get there. You know, it's just a different way of learning.
But here's the weird thing about enlightenment: when you hit that peak, and you know, some people can do it through drugs or do it through drugs, but I did it naturally. And the guy at work is like, Dave, you should do mushrooms. And I'm like, no, because I don't want people to ask me, Dave, did you ever do hallucinogens? And I'd be like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's why you're the way you are. And I didn't want that. But he's like, he sold me by saying, Dave, when you do mushrooms, you will laugh at what you're saying right now. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to try it. I did it, and I documented it, but it wasn't, no, it was just me dreaming awake, which is the philosophy. This is a dream, and I get that. But I knew it before doing mushrooms.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to learn anything that you don't already know with drugs.
No, I would dispute that, because when you're dreaming while awake and you're aware that it's all coming from your own mind or outside sources at the same time, it does make you more aware.
I make it sound like the mind is confined to the brain.
Sometimes, Brother John.
Well, I think like you have a car and you want it to get you to California, so you put a lot of oil in it, you maintain it, you want that baby to get you there. Now, if you look at our brain like a car, we're following it up all the time. We're pouring poisons into it. We're trying to screw with our vehicle all the time. It's like, what's up with that? You know,
who are these people?
Yeah, I'm part of the problem, not part of the solution, because I've been doing it for years, and I definitely associate fun and relaxation.
What if I enjoy my ride? What's wrong if I enjoy it? I'm not hurting anyone else.
Well, that's the trick. That's been the trick.
We're going to create new cars in the future.
Have as much fun as you can without hurting anybody else.
We're going to create new cars for people in the future. And just write down the mileage. Write down where you went. Share it.
Why learn long division when you're never going to need that skill?
But some people do need that skill. Those are other people. I can't... Here's one thing about what I want. I wanted to know, like you wanted... People want to know everything at times. But our brains aren't designed to know everything. One person has a certain skill, say, to be a sculptor. The other one could be a carpenter. They're still same thing, different way. Another person... Like, I enjoy linguistics now. And that's what I loved about you seeing me and Brother John the other day. Just talking weirdness about philosophy. And you're like, you guys do this all the time? It's like, yeah, we're just being in the now, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice existing.
Well, you know, I think Descartes had it backwards. I think we are, therefore we think. And you know, my hero, Deepak Chopra, basically says it like this, and I'll paraphrase him. He says, all these years we misunderstood the priorities. In other words, most people think that a human being developed into a body that learned how to think. So really, thought is primary, that all is mind. And what it is a thought that learned how to take root in a human body. That we are primarily thought, not physical body. That we got it backwards. That every cell is a thinking cell.
Incorporate, quantum physics, mechanics, and all those.
Well, that's what he does brilliantly. In other words, he comes to town to give a lecture, and he scientifically proves that he was here 3 years ago, and he's now in an entirely different body. Every cell, every brain cell, every cell has been replaced.
But that's why I love.
He's got the same suitcase, but a whole different body, but he's still here. Now, what is it? The essence of a person that remains when every cell in the body gets replaced all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, with some rapidity.
And there's so much going on everywhere.
Yeah.
Inside just us
Well,
itself.
he believes, and I believe too, healing-wise, that every cell is a thinking.
I want to say two
cell.
quick things.
Okay.
I love Maslow first of all because if you know this, but you're on the bottom to where it's like, hey, I gotta go pee. It's like it gets wiped away, to where you just have to focus on your own self. I gotta go pee. And the other one I wanted to focus on was man, my brain's
See,
going.
we're losing our ability to focus. That's what that whole book's about.
No, well, I'm intoxicated.
Did you read the title of the book on top there?
Yeah.
Which I don't think you have to read the book now, do you?
Wait. Just let me be silent, and I will think of what I was going to say.
I'm listening.
That's a joke for me because you said like I want to be silent so I can think of what I was thinking about. Brother John and I do this. We'll just sit in silence and enjoy it.
Do you think this is a beautiful woman?
What do you mean? Physically?
Yeah.
Or mentally? No, that's not what I'm attracted to.
Now, this is a famous calendar. My dad and I used to do it for years. Because Rigid Tool was one of our customers in Elyria. And every year they came out with a... Now, these were risque pictures.
I understand.
Back then.
Yeah. Can I show you what I think is attractive? I think I don't like that picture. I'm going to find something I enjoy out of this. Visually. She's cute. Her facial expression versus this one. That one's like a deer in headlights to me.
That's sweet.
That's more like cute, like, hey, you want to have fun? Or like, hey.
Like sincere.
Like, yeah, I'm doing this for you. I feel a little goofy, and it's going to be fun though. That's what I see in the face. That's too, like...
Seductive.
Yeah.
Cat eyes.
That's just in the moment, and I'm not there. I don't want to be there, but I'm just saying I'm not there. What about this one? It's a pose. It's just a pose to me. That almost reminds me of an emotion of, okay, you just took a picture of me. Alright, that's too created. Does that make sense?
I don't know, we just took the pictures.
It doesn't seem natural.
Well, this is obviously in a studio for the most part.
I wanted to find one I really enjoyed. That is almost sad to me.
It must be Betty. Looks like a Betty.
That's, for some reasons... I look at faces.
I noticed that. You're not looking at the rest.
I'm not looking at the tits or anything. No, not in any of them. No, I'm an eye person.
Okay, there's
that one's okay.
There's a second face.
That one's a good controlling one.
Okay. There's a second
She's
face.
like, I'm gonna get you. That's it. That's a good one.
Okay.
This is the one I like. She's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I like that type of reality. I'm gonna get you.
Okay, now that was, I believe, in the late. What year was that? In the 80s?
98, it says.
Yeah, 98. Okay. And this is the last one we did. Okay. So then we get the Playboy.
Wait, say, what is that picture again, right there?
What, Lounge's Winery, you mean?
Above the YMCA office.
Oh,
What
that's
is it?
my brother-in-law, Jimmy. Azbek's forever. His last name was Azbek.
Is that you in the picture also, or no?
Oh yes, that's me.
Which one are you? The right?
Yeah, yeah.
On the right, you're giving him a kiss and he's smiling. That's a great picture.
Well, I had it made because his son Jeffrey was near death, and I brought it to him in the hospital, and he got a kick out of it. Okay, so now a few years later.
That's actually this year.
Yeah, this is it. So you know what these people are doing. Okay?
I see. These are nicer, like, because I'm more eye person of the happiness in the eyes. Happiness in the eyes is what I'd like to see.
Then.
So should I look through it?
Then there's this that my buddy Dennis got for me. Now this is Playboy's other version. Now these are women, like supposedly in a locker room. Now this is just a few years later from the Risque calendar.
All right. Well, Hustler did a great job with this. What was his name? I can't.
Well,
not he still exists, but I can't think of his name.
Okay, so I'm saying to myself,
Larry Flint. People vs. Larry Flint is a great.
Yeah. So I'm saying to myself, okay.
Can I find the most attractive one to me?
Yeah.
Because I love eyes. Obviously, this has been used a little bit.
Oh, I don't know when he got it, but
no, I'm just making a joke for myself.
Again, you're looking at the faces.
Yeah.
Hard to do.
I'm
I think that is just cool. That photograph.
I don't like that picture. That's a horrible picture. that's like you cream pie me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She's scared.
Or like blew at my face or something. That's cute. I like butts too. I'm a butt guy. She's got nice eyes. I watch porn a lot also, to where I really enjoy, like, even when it comes to me having sex, I can only enjoy it when someone else is enjoying it too.
Oh,
like, I don't want to make it about
otherwise
me.
you might just would. Yeah, that means you're a considerate lover.
That is beautiful. I love her eyes. It's almost like people criticize her, but Angelina Jolie.
Rascal. Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, she kind of has her eyes. A bunch of naked women together.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. That's my favorite because she's a thinker. I could see it in her eyes. She's a thinker.
Oh, she's making fun of this whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, you see that too, right?
Says, I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Just give me the 10 grand. See ya.
I would not say that. She wants people to think to me. I like that. I like her. I'm an eye person.
I don't know what even started this. I don't know. I was trying to get your mind off something. And that'll do it.
But I looked at all the faces, and I don't care about the body.
Just what I'm driving at, if you say in the linear lunacy, as if the human race is going somewhere, which evolution would indicate, until you look at a horseshoe crab, and it's exactly the same right now in the salt water as it was 50,000 years ago. I haven't changed a bit because it works. I mean, it's still around. So evolution doesn't necessarily mean constant change. It just means getting the species to the point where it can survive and reproduce. Now, what would be wrong under that scenario, to say, like, the Illuminati must be planning, whoever's in charge. At times it's almost comforting to think that there's a group like that that isn't caught up in the current, bullshit, that is actually planning on how to save us.
Here's what I was thinking earlier. that I forgot to say is when it comes to knowing everything, I can't be making light bulbs. I can't be harnessing different forms of electricity because I'm in my own world of, say, psychology and philosophy. I'm good at psychology and philosophy and emotions. That's why I was looking at the faces, not the body. What about somebody that
isn't good at anything?
Someone that's, well, this is horrible to say, but generally they become laborers. But they also have emotions and thoughts and goodness.
What if they don't even have a job? They're not even laborers. And what they do mainly is reproduce more inferior people.
I see where you're getting at. Yeah.
We got a whole nation full of them, with millions of people.
That's where this is getting to.
Yeah. So shouldn't they be eliminated? Instead, they're reproducing in mass numbers, and the rest of us have to support them.
Like, we're a cancer for the world, first of all, with driving our cars,
yes,
creating the evolution of industrial age,
we are
information
Earth
age.
cancer.
But the other people, not the other people, because I'm going to be them too, just producing nothingness, but more like just staying on the teats all the time.
Well, what they're doing is they're producing more children.
Yes.
That have no guidance, and the kids, the moment they're born, they don't have a chance. They don't know who their daddy is.
They're fucked.
They're screwed. They don't even have a chance. Wouldn't it be kinder just to either sterilize these people,
well,
or just kill all the babies before they?
But these are choices.
Yeah, but we don't do that. We can have abortion, but we can't kill a baby. The moment it comes out of the womb, now somebody's got to take care of that baby, even though. And that's you. You're going to be paying for it.
I'm going to switch this around a little bit. Okay. Let me ask you the question. Why does it matter? What happens?
Well, my ground assumption is that human beings are worthwhile living forms. So they deserve, a human being deserves to have as enjoyable a life as possible. And that means, to me, freedom. Freedom to fail, freedom to win, do whatever you want. And when that freedom is threatened by other people taking your money away.
And that goes back to like the Geordie with the glasses.
How do we know?
Because he was blind, but yet the technology created because he was blind saved another civilization.
Until it also destroyed itself.
Yeah, we're just reinventing.
Yeah, in other words, live in the now. But I'm not going to stop thinking about this stuff now. I've been doing it my whole life.
It's fun too. Also,
God knows I try to turn off my brain as often as I can.
Turn off my.
The odd thing is that, you drink and you use a drug or something to try to slow down your thinking or turn off your brain for a while, and it doesn't work. I sit here all night long writing stuff I can't even read the next day.
I actually found out why I drink. I've been asking Dewey and Ryan, like, Dewey, Ryan, why do you think I drink? Like, because I drink. It makes me focus more visually, and I love that. Like, do you remember the picture last night? Toward the door and the green?
Yeah,
I was looking at that picture today, and like, cause I took a picture of you, of the triangle. Do you remember that?
You could do that with mushrooms or drugs or anything.
But with drinking, it just makes me so visual.
Well, it's your drug of choice, and I
like being visual.
But isn't it fascinating? Just human beings, just endlessly fascinate me as a group. For centuries, we've been intoxicating ourselves, and you go, how did this become like? I mean, root causes. Why do people want to get drunk? Why do people want to alter their consciousness and call that a good time? Me being one of them. I grew up like my dad, for crying out loud. He's on a whiskey bottle. I mean, the whole family's emailing back and forth trying to get the last case of Corby's on the planet because they stopped making this shit. And it's awful.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Because it's sentimental. It's emotional.
Yeah. But we grew up, mom and dad around with their little shot glasses.
Hey, can I grab one of your reach-arounds?
Reach-arounds, sure.
It's a Genesee, though.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's going to warm up.
It's a cream ale. It's a cream ale. That's my joke.
Well, it was my dad's favorite beer. So here I am. Here I am drinking my dad's favorite beer with my dad on a whiskey bottle, and literally talking to him sometimes, you know. I write a poem, and what do you think of that one? Now, Mom would love it. Dad wouldn't even bother finishing the poem because he was more like, go shoot something sort of a guy. But, and he wouldn't go to a sports game, he wouldn't, you know. But you wonder.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, sure. You wonder
That's the gift. You wanted to give me something, right? That's it. This is it.
Well, you can't match up with this.
Wait, say it again. Let me read it, actually. Because I love it so much.
Oh, it's a fast. Now, there's another thing I've been meaning to tell you. I've been studying, you know, there was, first couple centuries after Jesus, there were like many different rumors and brands of Christianity.
Yeah.
There were the Gnostics, there were the Coptics, there were all these different groups that said...
I have to stop you real quick.
Okay.
What I enjoy, first of all, about Jesus is the Bible existed before he did what he did.
Well, I mean the Old Testament.
The Old Testament.
Yeah.
I like that. Like,
yeah.
I want to kind of poop in my pants and vomit at the same time towards, like, there's an Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I don't mean any disrespect at all to Christianity, to Jesus.
I love
Bible.
Jesus.
But the more you
Obviously,
study,
that was mine, right?
yeah,
But I give it to you.
so
It's a Jesus thing. I love Jesus.
Yeah. Well, but everybody eventually has
It
to
sucked
come
that
up,
he raped me. I'm sorry.
they have to come up with their own version of who Jesus was. And whether he really rose from the dead, whether it was really a virgin birth and all that stuff.
Or rape.
Yeah, I mean, you know, did he have children?
Roofies back then?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get,
Wine.
I can't get it out because you interrupt it all the
Sorry.
time. But anyway, they discovered years ago the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that stuff, which confirmed an entire different version of Jesus' life, and they were all Unitects. They were all just believed in the oneness and the soul, and that they said that's what Jesus was teaching. Well, for political reasons, in Rome and other places, all the people who were gaining a lot of power by being Christians, once the emperor decided, Constantine decided, I'm going to be a Christian, all of a sudden they weren't throwing them to lions anymore. Everybody wanted to be a Christian because the emperor was. So then they said, wait a second, what does it really mean to be a Christian? Then they started politicizing it and writing all this stuff down and saying,
or
keep in mind,
questions.
nothing was written down until the best estimate, 50 years after Jesus was dead, before anything was written down about him. So Luke and Paul and Mark and all these names that were given, they weren't really around Jesus. They never knew him. They just heard versions of what he said and what he did. So it was written down later, and you know, and then centuries later, it gets so finally in like year 400 or 500 AD, they called this council. They said, there's too many, we got to study what Christianity really is. And so they threw out.
Yeah, they decided.
Yeah,
what's going to be in this, what's not.
You know,
yeah.
Luke
I heard about that the other
and the
day.
Apostles' Creed, you know, what you're supposed to, and all the rest of these totally
day.
viable forms of Christianity they burned it all. They got rid of it all. They said, no, this is it. This is what you got to believe, and we'll tell you what it is. Because I'm the Pope, man. Or, you know,
I'm the Pope, man.
Yeah. And I'll be the one. I'm infallible. I'm going to tell you what the hell's going on, and you listen to me.
I'm going to tell you what the hell's going on.
It's not what Jesus wanted at all. And from whatever I can dig down into the deepest research. He was wandering around India, learning how to meditate. He was a cool dude. He didn't want to be worshipped.
He was a hippie, I think.
Well, he was. And he had to be funny. He's a Jewish guy. You know, he had to be funny to have all these
What
pals.
if he was black Jewish?
Oh, I'm sure he was.
I think that'd be great.
Well, look where he came from.
I think that would be greater.
He was an Arab. Of course he was black. He had that big schnozola. I mean, you know, they get this blonde, blue-eyed Jesus guy. I mean, come on, get with it, you know. So anyway, the form of Christianity that I dug up that makes the most sense doesn't even resemble the so-called Orthodox Christianity that we've all grown to think is what we're supposed to be a Christian. Excuse me. I'm a Christian, but if anybody really probed me, they would, you know,
alien Orthodox
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like any Christian anybody else thinks is a Christian, you know. I'm not I'm not at all sure that he wrote.
What I enjoy most about Jesus in the Christian faith of the polar opposites is Jesus was not a Christian.
Yeah,
I love
he was
that
a Jew.
double modesty. He was a Jew. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
And yet we've changed it all.
Yes. It's a weird
Sometimes I
evolution
wish
of-
he would come back, and boy, would he have some fun with us, telling us what he really. But he basically, he was a lunatic. He's basically saying, hey, get it. Your ego is the worst enemy you can have. You're going to be miserable.
No, but ego is okay also. For obviously, he did it for a reason and a purpose to exist. As we all do. We all have purpose and meaning. And we can create a meaning and purpose.
Yeah, and he was saying, but don't create a false one. You're not your Corvette. You know, if you get attached to things like Corvettes and jewels and stuff, you're miserable.
Jesus was in a Corvette. He's like, I'm fucking Jesus, bitch.
Imagine him.
He's like,
Here, pull up. Here, wash my feet, bitch. You know.
wash my feet, bitch. Oh, that's great. That's good.
It just isn't. I mean, but people don't see it. I was 50, 60 years old before I really got rid of my Catholic hangover. You know, I'm still a recovering. I'm still a recovering Catholic, but
sorry.
I mean, you really believe that stuff. I really, really believed it. I mean.
All right, I'm gonna. Can I use your bathroom to pee?
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, and let you think about it as I pee. 'Cause I have an answer from my own parents. What did you learn? I don't want you to answer now, but just think about it while I pee. What did you learn? What is the greatest teachings your parents taught you? Because my mother taught me one, and it's very valuable to me. But I'm going to go pee, and I'll let you think about it. What did your parents teach you that sticks with you, that's greatness, I guess? Hey, I see a sign in here that says, never trust a man who doesn't drink. I drink quite a bit. So, does that mean I'm trustworthy? I drink a lot, and I talk. Alright, so what did you learn from your parents that you enjoy the most? I guess that's the question, same question, different way.
Well,
what did you learn?
That was my mom's favorite word.
Word love? Loving?
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness.
But the thing that stuck with us the most is she said, just tell the truth, because it's easier to remember. You save yourself a lot of agony if you just tell the truth, because later on you don't have to remember what you said. You'll always remember what really happened.
That's fascinating with what we went through in the past.
Yeah. Believe me, I've reflected on it a lot, because I get mixed up, as Roy well knows, between I'm writing a fiction story and all of a sudden I'm talking out loud, and what I'm doing in my own mind is I'm telling a story. But yet the facts and the story, you know, fiction and fact, they get blended together. And I had a PR lady called Marge Lennon years ago, and she was very, very smart. And she would speak in blurts, and she was a writer, obviously.
I know you're talking about her now, but I want to talk about more about what your parents taught you.
Okay.
You said your mom?
That's mom.
Okay.
And Dad basically said, get off your ass and work for a living. Joy is in productivity. Get something done, make a good living, and everything else will fall into place. The rest is all bullshit. So you can imagine how happy he was when I became a philosophy major.
Can I tell you mine?
Sure.
My mom is very powerful. She taught me the most valuable gift you can give to someone else is your time. And that's true.
And your attention.
I'm sorry, what? That's my joke.
No, I'm not.
I was joking.
Yeah, but
Because I was listening.
I tell you, you'd never read this book in a million years, but she just gives you a million examples of what happens.
All right, and my dad's is more controversial. I didn't like it at first, but now I understand it. He said, the less I know, the better I'm off.
Ignorance is bliss.
And I didn't like that at first because that's when I was into the conspiracy theories, like, no, everyone needs to know this, and everyone should just fucking know this. But, you know what? But my mom and dad come together in those two philosophies. The less I know, the better I'm off. Just be yourself. I like being alone at times a lot, and I like giving my time. Does that make sense? See my two parents coming together as me? I like giving my time, but I like being alone. Okay, so next topic maybe? I don't know. I don't know everything.
Well, you're talking about, I could see where Dana's coming from, because after a while you realize you're never going to know everything that there is to know.
Can I tell you my favorite quote from him? Sure. Growing up? Like, you know how, like, say you have a family and the mother is dealing with the fucking kids. Like, they're fucking crazy kids. Hey, I remember stuff. And it's like, I'm going to tell your father when he gets home. Stuff like that, like threats.
Man, that was the big threat.
What I love most about my dad is when he'd come home, he would say, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. And I'm the same way, in a different way, to where I come home and the phone rings, I'm like, so it begins. I don't want to hear it. just let me be in peace. Does that make sense in itself?
Makes sense. What do you think I'm doing here?
Exactly. Same thing, different way. Alright, let me make sure this is going. Alright, we're talking about Roy. Or I could talk about my brother, too.
Okay. Well, here, it's make it real simple. I mean, Roy's my big brother. He's been one of my best friends. He's been there, the only guy there when I had to bury my son. I mean, we've been through a lot of shit together. More, you know, like every brother. And somehow, thanks to Mom's love, all six of us have remained tight. Now, obviously, that's very, very important to me. You know, that's it. That's my life. It's my family. And Roy is unbelievably generous. Obviously, I mean, the Ireland trip. I mean, he takes me everywhere.
Well, you were talking about criticism.
Okay.
Like you think I criticize you, but
well, let me finish. Please let me finish. Okay. So there are times over the years when I've said, "Wow, he's done so much for me." Financially, I mean, didn't like give me money, but he takes me places. You know, I'd never be able to go do all this travel if it weren't for him. And his wife says, nobody else will go with him, you know, because he's such a pain in the neck, and he really is. He's very anal and got to be right all the time. But I love him, and I'm adjusted to it, and so there was a certain amount of personal pride involved in like, oh no, I don't want to go on this trip because I really can't afford it. You think, you know, he said, forget it. I got a lot of money. We might as well enjoy it, and you know, forget it. So I do. But then at times, you wonder, is there a string attached or not? Like, can he abuse me, and I can't get mad at him because he's done so much for me?
Okay, so can I stop?
Double-edged sword.
I want to now tell you what I think is the truth.
Well, I haven't even got to it yet, but...
So let me tell you about me and my brother.
Oh, okay.
and this goes with what we were talking about last night. Like, you're like, you assume I have to be a teacher. I'm like, no. Like, my philosophy is be the teacher and the student at the exact same time. To where my brother's 10 years older than I am. I have one brother, he's 10 years older than me. And we talk to each other, express our feelings, emotions, and we learn from each other. Obviously. He's like, Dave, I learned so much from you. And that makes me feel good. So when I confused Roy's message as an email saying no more videos of Robin recordings, with a question mark, but I took it as like, no more, don't do it anymore. But what I believe, expressing this to you, is he wants to see more. Because he enjoys it. Because he was here. Because first of all, no, he can't be. He was here, but he can't be here all the time.
You agreed very distinctly, because I was going to move, to stop shadowing me and taking my picture all the time. And he came to you and said, please stop doing that. You're fucking up his life, remember? And you promised solemnly that you would never do it again.
I promise negative.
Well, you do it now. And why it was upsetting, and I can feel my blood pressure going up, but I've learned how to deal with it, is that when not only did I find out that you were sending drunken videos of me against my will to my brother, but he was playing ball. He was encouraging you to criticize and ridicule me in my own home, in the privacy.
Really? You think that?
Well, I read it. You made me read it because I didn't. He told me he deleted everything you ever sent him. Now he lied to me, and then he goes behind my back ridiculing me with my friend here, and so it's upsetting. And I have never said a word to him about it. And we're going to this West Virginia golf outing, and I've got to clear the air because I'll get drunk there and take a poke at him or something, and I want to do it when I'm sober. I've tried to write him on this thing I can. I'm going to write him a letter and saying, you know, I'm aware that, you know, of your duplicity, of your two-faced attitude towards this thing. But basically, if you're so bored with your life that you get a kick out of watching your younger brother, who's you're supposed to love.
But that's a criticism towards him. Well, if he criticizes you, or if you think
he got you to stop doing it, and now he's encouraging you to do the very thing that he asked you to stop doing.
No, because
spying on me.
Like, today's your birthday. This is the best documentary ever for your birthday. Well, because you're double the age of me. I love that. Okay, first of all,
what I'm trying to say is that, so I realized what a hypocrite I'm being, because it's pure ego, that I'm allowing you guys who make fun of me, for some reason you get a kick out of getting me drunk and then recording it and then
they're just jokes,
making me look like an asshole. What? I don't do that. Why? I would never even think of taking a video of you and sending it to your brother. I mean, think about it.
I would love
it's
that.
not even. Yeah, but it's. I think that's an invasion of privacy, and I think it's wrong. I think it's inconsiderate. But if that's your thing, and if Roy wants to participate, I got to get over it.
And I love that you give him the finger in the video.
Yeah, well, he'll never. Well, who knows what he sees?
No, he will see it. He will watch everything.
Well, the point is, which way? Well, it's not funny to me. The reason it's not funny is because I can't be myself. I can't relax in my own home because I never know when you're gonna turn your back.
But you know, this has been your whole morning with me. But morning. Well, morning is a weird word, but it's been documented.
Okay, it's one thing if you sent off something that was important, like if I read that poem or I said so. That stuff never gets to him. Only when I'm a drunken fool do you send stuff. You never send the good stuff, do you?
Oh no, that's why I'm doing this documentary. Because to me, it's even though it's drunkenness.
Anyway, I'm writing him a letter, snail mail, you know, and it's basically going to say.
Wait, I want to stop you right now.
If you're going to continue.
First of all, you are absolutely sober.
Yes.
I've been drinking.
Yeah, a couple beers doesn't matter. It doesn't count. I know when you're hammered.
But I just wanted to show the polar opposites to where, in this documentary. Because this is going to be a documentary. This is great.
So let me get this lesson that this whole duplicity and you guys making fun of me behind my back.
But I'm not. I'm actually not. Brother John's not either.
Get Rob drunk videotape him to send it to his brother so he can see that Robbie's drunk again. Or still. Because Roy just looks at me as an irresponsible
right now
drunk.
you're not. Ha ha.
So I said, okay, when I got sober and I was mad for weeks, every time I thought about it, I thought, gee, no, that's a pure ego trip. Why should I really give a rat's ass whether Roy's making fun of me, you're making fun of me? But the only reason it could hurt me is if I let it.
Exactly.
And that means that forget it, who cares? Now, and so that's how I've been able to deal with it and diffuse it in my own mind.
But it's still working.
If I allow, but the letter's coming this week. I got it written in my mind. Now, I'm not going to do it on the very culprit that caused all this. You know, the tsunami of opinion that comes off the internet. But I realize, hey, if I just really died to myself, as my favorite prayer says, and just get over myself, the only thing I'm mad about is that my ego is bruised, my pride is bruised, because my two best friends are ridiculing me behind my back. And well, it's what it is. I saw it. You showed it to me.
That's the way you perceive it.
Well, okay.
I joke with Brother John. I joke with my brother.
Do you send this stuff to his brother?
Wait, say it again.
Do you send this to John's brother?
I don't have his email address.
Oh, would you?
I would if I had it.
Oh, I'll get it for you. See how John likes it. He knows that what goes on here just stays right there. He's not sending it to his parents.
Brother John is opposite. To where Brother John's like...
Ask him if he wants to share these videos.
No, I don't want to incorporate anything illegal in any of my videos, but Brother John's like, fuck it. Like, this is me. Brother John accepts himself, just as I do.
Yeah, but he knows nothing's going to happen to him. See, I've got all my favorite godchildren, and they see this stuff. Roy shows them this stuff because he thinks it's funny. So the entire Rhode Island community sees me as a drunken fool. You understand?
Well, that's sad for them.
Well, it's sad for me when I go to visit and they won't take anything I say seriously. I give them religious books. I'm their godfather, for crying out loud. They asked me to help them there because I'm the only one with a smidgen of religion in the family. And now I'm a joke. Now I'm a drunken joke.
But everything is a joke.
Well, but
I'm sorry. Everything is a joke to me.
I'm not angry.
I'm not saying you're a joke or Brother John's a joke or anything.
I want you to review your own sense of values and fairness and trust. Because a friendship is based upon trust. You know, and if you don't trust somebody, I can't have fun with them. And that's a tragedy. Okay, because I can't have fun over there because I never know what's going to be used against me. And
I would say what I share is either for comedy purposes
or what if I don't
education.
think it's funny? Because it makes me look like an idiot.
That's ego. That's what you're talking about.
I'm okay with it. I'm talking to you. Doesn't it bother you at all that you hurt my feelings?
Yes, but I already know I'm you in life right now.
That's a cop-out. We can always
we can
always go back to that. Then nothing will matter.
It's actually in the documentary to where I haven't fucking edited it yet, but I know you're like, Dave, have you ever like posted you being a retard or stupid? And you also asked, will you allow me to watch this before you post it?
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to do that now.
Oh, now? The original promise was you'd stop filming me all the time. You promised. Ask Roy. Of course, they promised after that didn't mean anything.
But you know that's
no,
what
it's
I
more
did.
fun. It's more important for him and you to ridicule me than it is to keep our trust.
Yeah.
Well, I don't trust either one of you right now for good reason. It's all documented that you, and so how can you be friends with someone you don't trust? You never know when they're going to turn on you. Isn't loyalty or trust part of your deal?
Have I ever turned on you?
Yes.
Really?
Well, you do it all the time. Ask John. Why do we get in arguments over there? Your whole goal
these are debates, not arguments.
Okay. Debate.
Have I always been your friend?
Debate's a nice word for an argument.
Have I always been your friend?
No.
Yes, I have.
Oh, I don't think a friend would do some of the things that you do. I know you have different definition.
Yeah, I do.
I think friends are supposed to make each other feel good, not bad.
I think friends should help each other. And then I obviously help.
Sending that to Roy helped me somehow? And making fun behind my... That helped me somehow?
But
if I hadn't pressed you, you never would even showed it to me.
Wait, say it again? I'm sorry.
If I hadn't pressed you, you never even showed me Roy's email.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. You sent the, you know, the Drunken Fool Robbie version 28.